very good evening. Welcome to Newswatch on this first day of March 2023. Hope you had a wonderful day. My name is Melissa Oduor, and on the sign language interpretation is Boniface Muredi. Newswatch begins now. Now, the National Assembly has convened this afternoon to discuss a matter of urgent national importance. Under Standing Order 33-1, the legislators discussed issues regarding the impact of the LGBTQ on the youth and the vulnerable persons in the society. The discussion comes days after the Supreme Court ruled the LGBTQ community had a right to form a lobby group since they have a right to association. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, in his submission, said the Penal Code outlaws gayism, adding that he stands with the Supreme Court minority ruling in the matter. Nominated MP Jackson Kosgei also weighed in on the matter, calling for a referendum to overturn the Supreme Court ruling that threatens the existence of the human race.
Nobody should imagine that you can force down the throats of Kenyans alien cultures that are alien to our nationality and our being African, Honorable Speaker. The issues, Honorable Speaker, that the Supreme Court was addressing itself to, and I really want to avoid going for the Supreme Court in any manner because they have a duty and an obligation under the law to interpret the Constitution in the best way they think it should be interpreted. And I think even in the Supreme Court, opinion was varied. It's only that the majority decision had their say, but the minority also had, the majority had their way, but the minority also in the Supreme Court had their say. And I want to identify myself with the opinion and the views of the minority in the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker. That we shall not allow and we must never allow our country to take up alien ideas, alien cultures, because we are a country that tends to copy a number of few things, good things, few from those other cultures. Honorable Speaker, our laws are quite clear. Our penal code still has outlawed issues to do with homosexuality. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, it was absurd that a good number in the Supreme Court did find it fit to allow a habit or something that is already outlawed under our laws, that you could now allow people to associate. What happens tomorrow, Honorable Speaker, if all the pickpockets in our streets decide now that they have rights as pickpockets and they want to form the Association of Nairobi Street Pocket?
The whole world and the population of the world, Mr. Speaker, is about 7.9 billion people, out of which 2.4 are Christian, 1.8 are Muslims. You talk about the Hindus, 1.3, Buddhists are 0.6, and the rest can follow. You can tell over 80% of the total population of the world believe in creation. They believe in heterosexual relationship. That is a relationship between a man and a woman. Not only for pleasure, love, and relationship, but for procreation and survival of the human race. If this has been done, and if the ruling by the Supreme Court becomes cast on the stone, then I don't think it can overturn our Constitution. We are going to invoke we the people. And this house is a house which is an arm of government. If it is the arm of government, when such situation happens, which is endangering the very survival of our people, then we must take this to referendum, where the people of Kenya will have an opportunity to speak. We cannot be dictated on by a civilization on its lowest ebb in history.
Horizon Analysts and Researchers Network HAN has called on President William Ruto to declare drought as a national disaster. This comes after the latest data shows a staggering 4.5 million people in arid and semi-arid areas are victims of acute food insecurity and a significant increase of malnutrition rates. Speaking during a press briefing, Han Executive Director Siad Jimale said that the national and county governments are doing their minimum to mitigate this crisis. Jimale castigated the county governments in the arid and semi-arid lands of Wajir, Garissa, Mandera and Turkana, among others, for having misplaced development projects including construction of palatial offices, renovations and other projects that are not helping the drought and victims of food insecurity at the moment.
It is shocking that most county governments that are worst hit by drought are doing misplaced development projects, including construction of palatial offices and other projects that are not helping the affected drought, people affected by drought and victims of food insecurity at the moment. Equally, the national government is doing little about the drought that is currently ravaging entire communities in almost half of the country. Even when the current president introduced himself and campaigned using the pastoralist tag.
The Public Service Commission PSC has begun interviewing all the 240 candidates shortlisted for the position of Chief Administrative Secretary CAS. The exercise, which will go on for the next 5 days, will see all 48 candidates interviewed each day. According to the schedule, each candidate has been allocated 30 minutes before the panel in the exercise that began this morning at the Commission's office in Harambee Avenue. Among those who appeared today are former Samburu Governor Moses Lelonkolal, former Narok Deputy Governor Evelyn Arwasa, former NAT Secretary General Wilson Sosion, Dennis Itumbi, Isaac Mwaura, Thomas Letangule, Charles Njagwa, Margaret Wanjiru, and Fred Segor. Several panels made up of the commissioners have been set up to grill the individuals on their suitability for the available 22 slots. Comedian Eric Omoni has been arrested yet again as he attempted to distribute maize flour to residents at the city stadium in his continued call to the government to lower the price of basic commodities. The comedian had barely arrived at the stadium gate when police officers who seemed to be waiting for him frog-marched him to a waiting vehicle amid shouts by his supporters. Police lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse the charged crowd. The comedian was taken to the industrial area police post. Nairobi Police Commandant Adamson Bungei said that they are interrogating Omondi and about 5 other people who were also arrested. President William Ruto has affirmed the government's commitment in building and expanding diplomatic ties with other nations. Speaking while he received new credentials from newly appointed ambassadors to Kenya at State House Nairobi, the president stated that diplomatic relations with other nations are important for advancing the economic, social, and cultural interests for the benefit of the Kenyan people. The head of state, while congratulating them on their appointment, acknowledged the vital role played by such ties which can drive the world to prosperity. The ambassadors include Wael Nasseruddin Attia of Egypt, Ali Ami Mohamed Limam from the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Savas Vladimiro from Cyprus, and Ruzaim bin Mohammed from Malaysia. Now let's take a first short break here on Hope TV Newswatch. More news items are lined up for you after this short break. Welcome back. Our President William Ruto has terminated the appointment of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Commissioner Irene Masit after the tribunal set up to investigate her conduct found her guilty of gross misconduct. President Ruto announced Masit's removal through a Gazette notice dated the 1st of March 2023 after the tribunal also recommended that she be removed for contravening the Constitution during the August 2022 general elections. The Justice Aggrey Muchelule-led tribunal noted that the evidence tabled before the member team had satisfactorily proven that the two allegations against her, but failed to convince the tribunal on the aspect of incompetence. And former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i traveled to the United Kingdom last Sunday to attend to family matters. This is according to his lawyer, Danstan Omari. Omari has denied speculations that Matiang'i fled the country following the mounting pressure by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations on the alleged raid in his current home by police. Now, the statement signed by Musyoki Mogaka and company advocates comes following a reported correspondence between the Interior Ministry, State Department for Citizen Services, and the DCI confirming the departure of Matiang'i from the country. Now, the advocates confirmed that their client had indeed left the country on the 19th of February, but stated that it was a regular private visit via KLM Airlines, an open and public means, and there was nothing sinister about his travel. They said he will be gone for 2 weeks. And the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, now says it will go to court in 7 days' time to challenge the legality of the office of the spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary if the Public Service, PSC, does not publish the legal framework and financial implications of the said office. This comes a week after Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi joined his wife, Tessie, at the Movenpick Hotel in Nairobi to launch the now controversial office. Now, in a letter to the Public Service Commission, LSK President Eric Theuri said the explanation on the legality of the office was crucial. And Pan-African Christian University, in partnership with Shufride Company, has launched a psychometric testing center at its Thika campus. Park University Vice-Chancellor Professor Margaret Muthui said the institution prides itself in offering training in psychology programs, including training the chaplain of the Kenya Air Force. Now, Professor Muthui lauded the partnership with Shufride Company from Australia, saying it will be helpful to the university and the community at large. Gerald Shufride, the director of Shufride Company, stated that his company has served for more than 75 years with a testing center well equipped to solve psychological problems. The center will offer testing, assessment, and training to solve the psychology problems in the community.
Park University also has a dimension that I'd like to finish with. We engage, we work hard to engage industry. You're never really of much use if all you do is in the classroom. So every department is encouraged to engage industry. Psychology department over the years engage industry, and I'm beginning to wonder, what if we also offered some of what we do? Take, for example, is it weekly visits, monthly visits to committee prison? That's one area we've worked with for years and years. And you know, in counseling, you don't touch and go. You work with people to a level that you feel they've crossed the bridge. What would happen if in those extensions to community, as universities, community, the lecturers and the students, we also thought through how would we use psychometric testing to help, to sort out, to understand, to support what also goes on in industry. So there's so much. So every department is encouraged to connect with industry. Psychology department has done a great job, and I know they've a list of things that they do, and it's an area that I think this tool will not only help us to train well, but also help us to connect with industry.
Research is very little, and I think that it's time to go more into research. You can do that with the equipment of Shufride, but you can do that on a more general, in a more general platform. if you do replication studies. Now, what is a replication studies or a similar study? Imagine that you have a study in cardiology and you have a sample from Boston, United States. If you do the same study, the very same study, just use the same pattern of the study and do it in Nairobi. You have another population, you have another genes, you have other lifestyle, you have other nutrition, you have other environment, the air is different. You are going to have different data. And if you have different data, the analysis is going to be different and the recommendation to the doctors and the patients are different. So this is, in my opinion, a good starting point to do similar studies and replication studies in Kenya so that you train yourself in doing studies, and it is in itself a favor to this population.
To some regional news now, Nigeria's governing party candidate Bola Tinubu has been declared the winner of the just concluded general elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared that Tinubu has fetched 8.8 million votes, which is 36.6% of the total votes that left him comfortably ahead of his rivals Atiku Abubakar and Labour Party's Peter Obi, who scored 29% and 25% respectively. Whitney Akinyi has more.
Nigerians finally know the new president-elect 4 days after the country held its elections. Bola Tinubu has been declared the winner of the presidential election after winning 8.8 million votes against 6.9 million votes from the candidate of the opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar. Labour Party candidate Peter Obi comes in third with 6.1 million votes according to the final results. The INEC confirmed Tinubu as the president-elect after obtaining 25% of the required votes in 2/3 of the 36 states and the capital of Nigeria.
Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Abubakar Atiku of the PDP, 6,984,520. Obi Peter Gregory of the LP, 6,101,533.
70-year-old Tinubu will take over Muhammadu Buhari, who is leaving office after 2 terms aged 80. In his victory speech, Nigerian President-elect Bola Tinubu thanked Nigerians for voting for him while calling for unity among citizens.
This is a serious mandate. I hereby accept it. That mandate to serve you, be your servant, and not be your leader. To work with you and make Nigeria a great country. I take this opportunity also again to appeal to my fellow contestants to let us team up together.
Nigeria, being the most populated country in Africa, faces a collapsing economy, widespread insecurities, and a high inflation. Tinubu will take over the mandate of solving these and other problems facing the nation. Outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the president-elect, saying he is the best man for the job. Buhari is expected to leave office in May after serving his 2 terms as allowed by the Constitution. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Whitney Akinyi.
To some unfortunate news, in Greece, 2 trains have collided in the northern part of the country, killing at least 36 people and injuring dozens of others. A passenger service train carrying some 350 people crashed with a freight train on Tuesday night. The regional governor said that the first 2 carriages of the passenger train were almost completely destroyed after catching fire. Rescuers have been working through the night at the crash scene near the city of Larissa. The head of a railway union has told local media it is not clear what caused the crash, which is Greece's deadliest in recent years.
ready for the most thrilling and exciting episode yet. We've searched high and low to find the most talented individuals. And now, they're ready to showcase their skills to you for a chance at the grand prize, 500,000 Kenya shillings. The judges have a tough decision to make, as each performance is more impressive than the last. And in the end, only one will be crowned the diamond in the rough. Come witness the dancing, poetry, singing of these amazing performers and witness the grand finale with special performances in between. Tune in this Saturday only on Hope TV at 7 p.m. to see who could be the diamond only on The Rough. For the live audiences, doors close at 6 p.m.
The Rough, identifying talent, inspiring passion.
Business now, the Cooperative Bank of Kenya has emerged as the overall winner of the Customer Satisfaction Survey conducted by the Kenya Bankers Association, KBA. The survey was conducted by interviewing over 33,000 customers of all member banks of KBA. The results of this survey were released this morning in Nairobi, where the bank was presented with a certificate of recognition for excelling in customer service based on the survey findings. Now, the annual Customer Satisfaction Survey was initiated in 2018 as part of efforts being spearheaded by KBA towards enhancing customer experience in the banking industry. The award comes 2 weeks after Coop Bank was also recognized with the Excellence in Customer Experience in Digital Banking Award at the DigiBanking event. To some sports now. Gor Mahia's 11-match unbeaten streak was brought to an end in stunning fashion Wednesday afternoon when a rejuvenated Mathare United handed them only their second defeat of the season following a 2-1 loss. In the rescheduled league fixture played at the Moi Kasarani Stadium, informed Daniel Otieno rose from the bench to inspire his side to the giant-slaying victory as his 82nd minute strike ended up powering Mathare to a vital 3 points that lifted them out of the relegation zones for the first time this season. And Los Angeles County has agreed to pay nearly $29 million to NBA superstar Kobe Bryant's widow after police shared graphic images of his fatal helicopter crash 2 years ago. Bryant and his daughter Gianna died along with 7 others when the aircraft crashed in LA area. Now, his wife Vanessa Bryant sued, saying first responders photographed human remains as tradable souvenirs. In a statement, Hira Hashmol, the lead trial counsel for Los Angeles County in the case, said all county-related litigation from the crash had been resolved. The aircraft in the crash that killed Bryant went down into a hillside outside the city of Calabasas. Now, conditions were foggy when the flight took off, and the local police had grounded their helicopters due to the poor weather. That does it for Newswatch tonight. Many thanks to all who have made this happen. I have been your host, Melissa Oduor. My sign language interpreter has been Boniface Muredi. Have a good night.